I am Claudia Liberatore, and I'm a mother, a grandmother, a retired artist, a retired occupational therapist, and currently itching to get into my garden. I'm an avid gardener. My art is photography. I use that as my main medium. It's a lot about who we are as people, the things that go on inside us, the beauty, the joy, and anything that interacts or intersperses with the human soul. I started my photography when I was a mother of 3 young children and doing some occupational therapy in my home with children. And I was kind of about up to here with kids and caregiving. So I bought myself a small single lens reflex camera, and I learned how to handle the camera in a camera handling class. And then I moved on to other formats in photography. I think the thing that originally attracted me to photography was the control, and the control that it might give me in my life. But once I got a grasp of the technology and the control, I decided to let it go, to play with it, to experiment with it, and to challenge the medium itself. I had a studio at Ray Street Gallery, and I was interfacing with a lot of other artists. And one of my friends, who is a sculptor, gave me a Diana camera, which is a toy plastic camera that light seeps in and you put film in, and sometimes it advances and sometimes it doesn't. And I began playing with that, and I used that for the Diana series. And I purposely did some overlapping of images, some inside and outside, some light areas and dark areas, to get into some of the things that were going through my mind as a young mother and wife and young occupational therapist. And after that, I thought, this is fun. Let's try a different camera. So somebody gave me a 2 1/4 camera, and that camera had a little connection where you could keep it from advancing. So that's when I started with the multiples. And at first I did 3 or 4, and we're working with design elements within the final image. And eventually I began to reduce the number of exposures on one negative. I never knew what I was going to get, but usually I had an idea that I was working with. I think it was like a treasure hunt, and also almost like a form of meditation, where you suspend yourself in time. And so I would do roll after roll, and some of them I go, oh, there's nothing here. And then I go, oh, look at this, 3 or 4. And I would continue with the process, go through the movements, and seek my little gems. And when I find the gems, I get quite excited. Well, I think one of the reasons I went into occupational therapy originally was that I was told that I would be doing art and using art in the therapeutic medium. So that was quite exciting to me. I was most interested in pediatric occupational therapy because I love children, and that was my field of undergraduate study also, psychology. So I thought about that I would be able to use not only myself as a therapist, but the medium of art and play for children, because play as this piece talks about, play is child's work and is a medium for creativity and self-expression. And that is a big part of occupational therapy. My children were my environment and my husband, and I involve them in the pictures. I have one picture called Coffee Break. I was thinking about what chance do women have to take coffee breaks during the day, and I decided to dramatize it. And I involved the kids in it. I said, what can we put on the table to make it look messy? We want the kitchen, it's messy all the time, but we want it to look extremely messy. So they went out and got the sprinkler and put the sprinkler on the table. And then I was breaking some things up, plates that I had gotten in at Goodwill, and putting them around to emphasize the word break. Coffee break. That's what happens when a mom takes a coffee break. Things break. And then I had pudding on the counter that my 15-month-old was playing in. He was finger painting with the pudding. And I had them sing a song so that they would be blurred. So they were part of that picture. And they just thought that was a blast. They had a good time with that. I think, at some point they did get tired of having me like put them in certain places and stage them. So then I think after that I would just follow their lead. And if they were doing something, photograph them. Often photograph them from behind, or doing something that they were involved in and I was involved in also. Bringing the photographs out of the flat surface came from having friends who were sculptors. And I felt like they were just inviting me to take that photograph off the page. Traditionally, people would store photographs in boxes. I still have a lot in boxes, and many people do. So I thought, let's take that box and see what we can scramble up and do with it. So it's kind of the history of photography rising up. And I also was looking at a lot of work by Joseph Cornell and the Surrealists then. And I just loved Joseph Cornell's work. He worked in the boxes. And then ideas would come with me. And my grandmother passed away, and I got my grandmother's recipe box, and I thought, I don't do recipes, but I do photos. So I started putting in some of the wonderful, just indescribable experiences I had with my kids, like taking them to see the lambs and holding the lambs in the spring for the first time. Well, and I think photography traditionally was a men's form of expression or technology. And when women started coming in, the domestic aspect and the use of children, Sally Mann, Imogen Cunningham would take photographs of unmade beds. And it added that feminine aspect to photography. And also, who can't relate to home and doing dishes? I have one photograph of me bending down and putting the dishes in. You know how many times you do that, and the blur of it. And so I think it's part of being a woman in photography too.